I was supposed to meet somebody here. I told them they'd recognize me because I'd be the guy with the carnation. You just screwed up my evening. John, thank you very much. Thank you for the leadership of our town and everything that you do. Jay, you are an exceptional human being, a great political leader, and an inspiration to each and every one of us. And we all owe you a tremendous debt of gratitude for all of the work that you do on behalf of ordinary men and women throughout our county and throughout our state. Thank you, Jay Jacobs. To my colleagues in government, and I won't bore you by reading off everybody's name again, but thank each and every one of you for the sacrifices that you make, and especially thank your significant others and your family for the sacrifices that they make. So many people don't realize the burdens that families take on when a member of their family goes into public service. It's been a long time, and I'm wrapping it up, at least this part of my life. I wasn't sure exactly how to do that. A lot of people have come over and say, "Are you okay? Are you feeling all right?" I guess we forgot to put in the press release that both me and my wife and my family are in very good health. It's been a challenge. And this is one of the most challenging parts. How do you say goodbye to the best job in the world? Job that has its challenges and its rewards. And to walk away and enter a new phase. I wasn't sure how to do that. Newspapers express surprise. They always say, a sudden decision. I guess the decision isn't sudden, the announcement is sudden, because you can't make a gradual announcement that you're stepping down from a position like this. If I did this 2 years ago, that would have been goodbye 2 years ago. The sharks circle the water pretty quickly. But in trying to think of how to do this tonight, I'm going to sort of break one of the rules that I tell so many of the younger people, many of them very successful in this room, elected officials, when they became public officials. My only advice was always remember, it's not about you. It's about the people who sent you. That having been said, I want to tell you something personal. I want to tell you a story. Once upon a time, there was a little boy, a fairly ordinary little boy, born to a mom and dad. His mom was a refugee, come to this country from Poland as a little girl. Married her childhood sweetheart. They graduated from elementary school. He became a taxi driver and worked when he could work. They were of very modest means. Moved into a housing project. The little boy grew up in public housing together with his brother. Not fully understanding they were poor right away, but after a while realized that the wonderful apartment, the roof that they had over their head, cost a lot more than the $80 a month that they were paying, more than the $20 his mom was able to put in the envelope she kept in the left-hand corner of the top drawer of her dresser. Till on the fourth week, she had $80 and walked to the office and paid the rent. But he figured out soon enough that somebody else, some other family, some other people, some entity was helping, and that rent was subsidized. And he came to understand that he was the beneficiary of that public largesse, and that somebody owed somebody something. This average little boy had a personal situation where he had a problem with his knees. They didn't work the way they were supposed to work, and he fell down quite often. His father told him that was okay, as long as you get up every time you fall down, you're a winner. His mother shopped him around to doctors and hospitals and finally found a place in Brooklyn where they said they could perform some surgery and help him out. He spent a great deal of time in a place called St. Giles Hospital for Crippled Children. Not a politically correct name, but if they were going to help, they did their stuff. And in a long stay there after the surgery, left the hospital, a year later was back, still problems. Sitting around in the children's ward, and a doctor came through. A very important doctor. Little boy knew that the doctor was important because there were 6 or 10 people following him, writing down every word that he said. His name was Dr. Bosworth. Little boy didn't know it, but this was the dean of orthopedics in the United States of America. And with his mother at his side on this gurney, the doctor looked at the little boy and examined him and looked at the charts and said, I think I can do something for him if we do a different kind of surgery. They didn't have replacements then, and this was a little bit more complicated than that. He said, if we did this and that and the other thing and cut this and put some screws and plates in here and there, maybe we could improve his situation. And my mother said, nobody touches him but you. And the doctor, holding this microphone that was attached to a wire that was attached to a machine that had these 2 tapes going around, said, I'll do it myself when I come back from Europe. Dr. Bosworth had just operated on someone named Jane Froman, and he was going to operate on some royalty in Britain, but I didn't know any of that at the time. And he operated in a place that he operated in, a place called St. Luke's Hospital. And I spent a lot of time there. And while I was there, they told me that some important people were coming to visit. It was Christmas time. And the Brooklyn Dodgers were coming to visit the children in the children's ward. And I was a little worried because maybe they would know that I was Jewish. But it didn't matter. There they were on Christmas Day giving out presents, and I got one. Gil Hodges, Roy Campanella, Pee Wee Reese, my father's heroes. I was impressed. Christmas happens to be one of my favorite holidays of all. Not for the religious significance, but for the gift of dignity, the gift of being appreciated, the gift of feeling important to people who are outside of your family and people who are important to other people. And so I come to love Christmas. Not as a practitioner of the religion, but as an adherent to the values. And the little boy did a lot better. He was now standing more than he was sitting and looking up. still living in the projects. And he'd often go down to the park, come home and talk to his parents, and his father was checking the mailbox, waiting for the bill from Dr. Bosworth from St. Luke's Hospital, a bill that never came. And he was reminded again that somebody owes somebody something. Somebody paid those bills. And he hung out in the playground. He still didn't play a lot of baseball, but he had a lot of friends that did. And he'd go down to the playground and he'd watch. And then one day they needed somebody on the team. I think somebody went home or whatever, and they were short one player. And he was shocked when somebody said, "Get up, you're going to hit." And I was petrified. I didn't know what to do, even if I could hit. And another kid in the park, in our playground, in the projects, stuck a bat in my hand and said, "I'll run for him." His name was Herbie. And I stood there at the plate, nervous as anybody could be. Bat over my shoulder. Herbie standing 3 feet to my left. The pitcher pitched the ball, and I swung as hard as I could. And somebody was watching. And the ball went somewhere into the outfield. And Herbie counted 1, 2, 3, and then took off, heading to first base, and my heart was beating. This has never happened to me before in my life. 60 feet later, Herbie reached first base, and everybody cheered, and I was standing there at home plate with a bat on my shoulder, looking at first base, and we hit a single.